When we are evaluating cube roots, or any root, we are looking for this number, the index, which tells us how many times the number that we are looking for is a factor of this number here. So here we're looking for a number that is repeated as a factor a total of 3 times to equal 64. And we should know our perfect squares and perfect cubes from 0 all the way up through 10. So at this point, we should recognize that 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. So the cube root of 64 is equal to 4. The way that we check that is we take this number and we raise it to the power of the index. So that would be 4 times 4, which is 16, times 4, which is 64. So we know that we are correct. The same logic comes here. We're looking for a cube root, so that means the index is 3. So that means we are looking for a number to be a repeated factor a total of 3 times to equal a product of negative 216. So when our product is negative and we are multiplying 3 times, we have a negative times a negative, which equals a positive, times a negative again, which will equal that negative. So we will have a repeated factor 3 times, and that factor will be a negative number. So I would know just from my patterns that negative 6 times negative 6 would be positive 36. 36 times negative 6 would be negative 216. So the cube root of negative 216 would be negative 6. The way I check that is by taking that negative 6, again it is the entire base, so I can put it in parentheses here, and raise it to the power of the index. So I could have negative 6 times negative 6 times negative 6. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. 36 times negative 6 would be negative 216. That was my original radicand, so I know that I am correct. The same logic goes through when we have a fraction. The index is 3, so that tells us that we need to have repeated factors 3 times to equal each of these. When there's a negative number associated with the fraction, I like to move it into my numerator. You can put it either with the numerator, with the denominator, or out front. I always like to keep it with my numerator. When I am simplifying a radical that is a fraction, I know that the root of a quotient is the same as the quotient of the roots. So I can just rewrite this and then simplify from here. The cube root of negative 8, well, I know the cube root of 8 is 2. So the cube root of negative 8 would be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. Now in my denominator, the cube root of 27, well, that's a perfect cube. That's just 3 times 3 times 3. So the cube root of 27 would be 3. So the cube root of negative 8/27 would be negative 2/3. To check that, we would take negative 2/3 and raise it to the power of the index. So we take negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 over 3. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, times negative 2 is negative 8. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. Negative 8/27 should be the original radicand, and it was, so we know we are correct.